Alright, I wanted to go over a really cool way of applying color to your vector paths using the Live Paint tool. So this is a really cool way of basically coloring in, it's like a paint by numbers process for coloring in your design work. The only thing I'm going to say about this tool is sometimes it can be a little frustrating, and you want to make sure that when you use this tool that you have your vector paths copied and saved on another layer. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I want to color in this composition, but I know I want to have the vector paths saved on another layer so that if I need to, let's say, use the strokes or just use some part of the vector paths, I'll have those saved. So I'll go ahead and do a marquee select on all those. I'll open up my layers panel. I'll go ahead and click on new layer. I'll double click on that layer and name it paths. And I will hover next to that square, which is the selection, and I'll hold down on the Alt key and I'll click and drag a copy of all those vector paths onto that other layer. Now I'm going to lock that paths layer and then turn off the visibility. Okay, so I'll click on the drawing area again, and let's go through the Live Paint process. So the first thing I need to do is select all of the paths that I want to start to color in, and we've already saved our original paths. The next thing I need to do is find that Live Paint tool. The easiest way to do that is just clicking or hitting the K key. You can also find it over here next to the shape builder. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to confirm that we want to change this collection of paths into a Live Paint group. So I'll go ahead and click once. And so what it's doing is it's highlighting all of the contiguous shapes that are created on the intersection of these paths. What I can do is open up my swatches panel and choose a color. And you can see there's a little preview of the colors that I'm using right above the Live Paint tool. And then if I just click once, it's going to color in that shape. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the stroke, and I will do that again. And this time I'll choose another color. I'll choose this red up inside there. Choose an orange. Click over here. The other really cool thing about this tool is I can hit the left and right arrows, and as I'm doing that, I can see that I'm toggling through my swatches. So I don't even have to go up to the swatches panel. I can just kind of like preview the different colors that I'm going through in the swatches panel. So I'll go ahead and just play around with filling this up with an interesting color scheme. Okay, so now that I've colored that all in, I'll go ahead and hit the command key and click, and I'll look at my beautiful work that I've made. If I wanted to, I could come back with the Live Paint and I could continue to change the colors. So while this is a Live Paint group, I can come back and edit. I'm going to go ahead and test this out. I'm going to use the white arrow tool. So I'll hit the A key and I will click on that point and I will pull that down. And you can see as I modify these shapes, the Live Paint stays active. So I can actually start to change even though the colors remain the same. I might do something like that. If I use the black arrow though, I can see that this is all one big group. If I double click, I'll go into isolation mode, and I can see that in isolation mode, I can start to move the shapes around. Even when I move them around, the Live Paint stays active. Pretty cool stuff. I'll hit the escape key. Now what if I wanted to add more to this? I needed to actually change some certain things about this. I can do that. I'll go ahead and delete this triangle shape. So I'll click on the group, I'll double click to go into isolation mode, click on just that group and delete it, and then I will hit escape, and I'll just come over to my shape tool and maybe find the polygon tool. I'll go ahead and put a black stroke on that so it's easier to see, and I'll drag out a polygon and put it in some kind of configuration. Maybe I'll put it in here like this. Release. Okay, so I want a new shape to this composition. If I want to add this to the group, I'm going to select both the group and the new shape, and then I'll come right up here to the control panel and I will click Merge Live Paint. So now this is all one big group. If I hit K to get the Live Paint tool, choose my color and start filling it in, voila. But that is how you add new things to your Live Paint group. When I feel I am completely done and I no longer want a live paint group. That is when we need to expand and ungroup this live paint group. So I'm going to select the live paint group, and I can either go to Object and Expand, or I can just come up here in the control panel and there's a button called Expand. I'll hit the Expand, then I will do Object and Ungroup. Sometimes you have to ungroup multiple times. And now I have these individual shapes. Maybe I decide that I don't want the strokes on all these, so I'll do a marquee select. And there's a question mark because we have all kinds of different strokes and fills. I'll go ahead and just cross out the strokes. And now we have a group with no strokes. And if I wanted to, I could actually bring back the original vector paths in here. So I'll go ahead and lock that live paint group layer, unlock the paths, and I could come in here and change those. So that's a general overview on how we use the live paint tool. So in a future demo, I'll show you how to use it in a more practical project.